All right, we welcome you to today's training, how to deal with an upset customer. Welcome to the Leap Fox Studios. If you're watching online, for those of you that are here today, welcome. This is one of my favorite pictures. It's been around for a while. Maybe I can talk Jim into just turning the lights off just for a minute so you guys can kind of have a feel of what it is. It's written in mustard and ketchup, and it says, "We waited 30 minutes, no service." And I see somebody now has put a little hand in there. They came after us and they got their ham and cheese sandwich. Real quick, why don't we do this? Why don't you pivot with those two, you two? I want you guys to discuss, probably in the last month or so, your worst customer service experience. Mine is not going to be mine's not going to be too big, Scott, but I'm preparing my home to sell it. I bet I've called 3 or 4 vendors that just don't return phone calls. And I always share this in the note. 81% of leads aren't followed up on. It's just a fact of life. People go, I follow up on all my leads. But 81% of leads are not followed up on. So my poor customer service would just be the fact that I call you and say, hey, call me back. I want to spend money. Nothing. Yesterday there was I'm trying to get some patio work done, so I looked up a number, and the first thing that jumped out was it was an 884 number. It said toll free. Okay, that's a little strange. So I dial it, nobody answers. Dial it again. Finally, a lady, I go, is this an answering service? No, I go, well, what city are you in? Oh, well, we're in San Francisco. Oh, okay. So anyhow, I told her all the information. I hung up. My phone rings again. It was a different person from that same answering service that picked up the number. But again, not huge things. It wasn't mustard and ketchup, but it was just poor customer service. So mine's going to be really simple. Somebody doesn't return a phone call. So will you two work together, you three? Just take a minute. What's that? What was that? Yes, that you've experienced, not of a customer complaining about you, that you personally have had a bad customer experience. Could be at the coffee shop, could be at Joe's Lemon Shop. I don't know. Okay, we'll go with 30 seconds. 30 seconds. And Jim, I'll have you do a light flash for me. I guess we can turn the lights back on you, if you don't mind. Yeah, now's as good a time as any. So, Danny, we'll start with Danny. Danny works for a company called Microtech. Not that there's any issues with that. Yeah, turn them all the way on. Thanks. I like that. I mean, that was good enough. What was yours? What was your customer experience? Okay. All right. Wow. Wow. Yeah. That's what's interesting. You brought up earlier, and this was off camera, but one of our challenges in business is, well, they want the cheapest price. Well, we've taught them to do that. What do you lead with? So you're making a phone call, and you're going to ask them, what was it you were trying to buy? Do you remember what it was? Maybe you can't say it in public, but anyhow, you made a phone call, and it was some version of, hey, how much is that? Well, naturally, we tell them what the price is. And you made a great point. Well, I'm willing to spend more just to get somebody that'll return a damn phone call. So one of the things in customer care and customer service we talk about is returning phone calls. What was yours, Travis? Didn't follow up. Yeah. Yeah, there's that stat again. That darn 81% of leads are not followed up on. Jim, what was yours? Sound like yours was an online experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting that even though it's $25, I mean $25 is $25, but just in our training, by the way, if you can hear that at home, it's Amazon. We hear those things. Mine is with my bank that, they constantly want to update everything. Well, that's great, but I don't know how to use it, and I'm a single entrepreneur. So when you change everything, I need help. So you won't let me call you. You want to use a help desk, and nobody responds. So remember, if you don't post your phone number on your websites, you don't have a live person answering the phone, I would argue shame on you. Shame on you. Scott, how about for you? Yeah. The other side of that, Scott, is we live in a robust economy right now. So despite how good or bad the salesperson is, we still, because it's so hard to get somebody to return a phone call. Now, as you notice, when the economy gets a little tighter, all of a sudden you notice customer service is better. But that's our encouragement and training today is if you can keep your customer care at a level that is solid even in good times, that when you get to some form of bad times, people are still going to stick with you. So our training today is volcano training. And what the theory is, how do you deal with an upset customer? So that's going to be the theory. It's pretty simple. I would say probably other than the voicemail, how to return voicemails, this is one of the most popular trainings I do. And Jim, the reason it is a lot of people that answer phone calls, their two biggest fears, one is, what if I get asked a question I don't know the answer to? And the other is, and this is, I don't want to say globally because I don't work globally, but in the United States, everybody says, what if they're mad? And there's a lot of mind reading that goes on. And the great thing about our training is just the fact that we pick up the phone and we call a customer. We call them live and say, fact is, I'm going to play 2 calls for you that are from today. 2 of the calls I'm going to play are from today. That customer's really mad at me. Here's your little by the way. The #1 customer complaint is no callback. If you guys probably can't read this here locally. On the internet you can, but it says same day callback. That's their ad. In their ad, and this is a local ad, it says same day callback. That's their headline. Because so many people fail to call back. What was your biggest, I guess not complaint, but your biggest challenge? And this is some version of somebody that's very savvy on the internet, meaning you. So what's your complaint? And tell us what a VPN subscription is. Okay. Okay. It's on what we call the dark web. Okay. Yeah. 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 So the one thing I would challenge everybody in this room to do, and whether or not you're a salesperson or you own the company or whatever your role is, customer care, call and try to get a hold of yourself. So call your company and try to get a hold of yourself. I know a couple of companies, one of which I work for, that you can't get because nobody answers the phone. So there's your first challenge, if nobody answers the phone. But it's important to do that. When I work with clients, I say, how hard are you to get a hold of? Because I can tell by your customer care how good or bad. And if I reach out to a lot of customers of clients and say, hey, I can't get callbacks, I typically know that the owner of that person isn't very good at callbacks. So here's what it's all boiled down to, ironically enough, in the volcano. So the volcano says, #1, and Jim, you've done this training with me before, what does a volcano have to do? Yeah, it has to explode or vent. So your note as you're writing this, and the reason we have you guys write these notes are 90% of what you write down you remember, okay, and 80% of what you don't write down you forget. So if you don't write it down, pretty good chance you'll forget. If you do write it down, pretty good chance if you do forget, you'll go look at your notes. So #1, we want to let them vent. Travis in the very back, can you read what I put in parentheses there? Okay, Scott, can you? Person, not the problem. You want to focus, in this particular case, you want to allow them to focus on the problem, not the person. And the reason I put the person, not the problem, is a lot of people get confused and they think, nobody's going to treat me that way. They're not mad at us, but the whole idea is we want to lower the temperature. Travis in the front row, Travis Palmer, I asked this question the other day at training and somebody says, what's it mean? So I hope you're not going to say that, but I said at 212 degrees, what does water do? Oh, thank you very much. So our mission is when somebody calls, it's at 212 degrees. Jim, we're trying to constantly lower that because once we get to 211, guess what happens? Well, it quits boiling. So at 211, it's not going to boil all the way down to room temperature, but that's what we're trying to do. And think about that. Danny, one temperature, 1 degree will keep that from boiling. So remember, we're not heating up a frog here. We're going the other way. So the first thing we want to focus on is the problem, not the person. Because if I call up and I say, how dare you teach me this, that, and the other? So we let them know that I don't know how you feel. I don't know how you feel. So we'll use Travis's case in the internet. I don't really know how you feel. I don't know how much time you spent. I don't know how you feel. But I understand, and look what I wrote up here. Annie, can you read that in parentheses on the second line? Okay. I'm taking notes. Is that okay? So if there's anything you take from this training today, just take that one. Okay? So if you say, hey, what'd you learn in training today? Well, I learned something about how to deal with upset customers. Really? What'd you learn? I'm taking notes. Is that okay? Because you're telling the client, sir, ma'am, I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. I don't know how you feel, but I understand. Well, how do you understand? Because I'm taking notes. Because most people, as we've discovered in Travis's case, they don't want to talk to us. They want to chat. And when I say chat in a chat room, Jim, you reached out to Amazon, arguably one of the largest companies in the world. We don't want to talk to you. Just give us your money. And we're not even going to talk to you. Just complain and we'll send you a new one. Whatever happens. So number one, when they get a live person, sometimes they don't know what to do. Well, what do I do now? I got a live person. All right. So now what we say, and these are the magic words both on sales, but especially in customer care, this eliminates mind reading on your part. Well, they're really mad at us. They're really upset. Tell me more. And if you say to them, Travis Palmer, tell me more, what will they do? They'll tell you more. And now you're listening with intent to be understood. Most people listen with intent, or I should say, listen thinking how they want to respond. So even as you guys go through this training, you might be listening saying, well, Casey asked me a question. I need to know how to respond. But now you're just listening with intent. And the big key here is you don't want to fix that. Jim, did I miss a good story? Oh, okay. I thought we had an upset customer. What we want to be able to do is slow our mind down and listen. Because most people have discovered, Travis, is if we'll just listen and play back what they said, 9 times out of 10, the problem's solved. What do you want? I just want somebody to hear me. Hear me out. Oh, okay. Go for it. So we say things like, tell me more. Now we come to the part here. Please put in parentheses, exclamation marks on your notes. Do not say, I'm sorry. Well, how come? Because everybody says they're sorry. That's just a reflex. That doesn't mean anything. Now, for 41% of our audience that is influencers, don't allow that to hurt your feelings because you say, I'm sorry a lot, and you genuinely mean it. But in the world of customer service, everybody tells us we're sorry. If you don't believe me, go to a drive-thru. Let's use McDonald's. It takes too long. I get up there, and then they go tell me to park, and then I run out, and they bring me the bag, and Scott, guess what they say to me? Sorry for the wait. Really? Do you really care? No. So we change that vernacular to, that's not like us, I take full responsibility. That's not like us. Now, a lot of times, Danny, when I train this, people go, am I liable? What you're telling the customer is, I'm not going to tell you I'm sorry. I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm here to listen and figure out a way to solve this. We may not be able to solve it, but I'm here. So if you read the book, The Art of War, and most books just have one little takeaway. So if you read Good to Great, the takeaway in Good to Great is get the right people on the bus. If you read the book, The Art of War, it says you fight the battle before the battle's even started, then that allows you to win. So if let's pretend, Danny, I know you'd never be mad at me, but let's pretend you're mad at me and I took a coffee pot. I'm just making up a scenario. And I come up to you and you're really going to get, Danny, I took that coffee pot. That's how I lead out the conversation. Danny, I took that coffee pot. What's kind of hard, you took that, well, you better not. Well, wait a minute, I've already told you I took the coffee pot. I'm telling you that in advance. So what I'm saying is, that's not like us. I do all the customer service training. I take full responsibility for the training that I do, and that's not like us. Now that allows them to say, here's the problem. So in your case, the problem wasn't the chat room or this, that, and the other. What do you want to get? What is it you want to get? Okay, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's not complicated. Yours was, I want a quote because there's something I want to buy. So now we get beyond the, why don't you have somebody at the front desk and your chat guy sucks? Did you have a question, by the way, Scott? Oh, okay. I'm glad it was to make a deal. Sometimes people have to excuse themselves in training. We always hope it's to make a deal, but if not, so be it. Okay, now the next thing we're going to say is what should have happened. So remind me, Travis, what was your scenario? What happened in your case? Never returned a call. Okay, so we'll go over here to Jim with the Amazon. So Jim, I happen to call you from Amazon, which, by the way, Amazon doesn't call because they've decided they don't want to. That they've tricked us into thinking customer service because they do so much business. They figure, hey, we'll just send them a new one and they'll go away, and we'll hope they put a 5-star on there. Jim, what should have happened? So I'm asking Jim the question. I'm going to stun him. I'm going to call him from Amazon. Jim, I'm calling from Amazon. What should have happened? Okay. Okay. Now, notice what I told Jim. That's not like us. I train our customer care people. So, Jim, I take full responsibility for this. And the reason I say that, Jim, is when we call centers or whatever they are to check on our Verizon bill, our cable bill, or whatever it is, usually about the 7th person, we finally, and even when we go, can I have your phone number? Nope. Nope, you can't have my phone number. You can't. So now I've told Jim, the buck stops here. And when I tell Jim the buck stops here, Jim, I'm not telling you I can give you your $25. I'm not telling you that. But what I am telling you is when we get done with the call, something will happen. Now, Jim jumped forward a little bit and told me what he'd like to see happen. But in this case, I'm going to ask Travis in the front row. Travis, so you told me what should have happened. What would you like to see happen now? So we know we should have responded to you instead of sending you the block. And let me play back what I heard you say. You keep getting these emails with your questions, the chat room. So we know what should have happened. That should not have happened. What would you like to see happen now? Okay. And if that, so now I'm going to come back over to Jim. Jim, if I can walk you through that and help you with the $25 issue, then what will happen? Now, Travis, the reason this is critical is because a lot of times all we want to do is go out and fix stuff. And even if we fixed it, have you ever run into somebody where you fixed it and they still weren't happy? It happens all the time. I train how to get 5-star Google reviews. Hey, Dave, how do I do that? You just start asking your customers for 5-star Google reviews. But what's happened is that's morphed into, yeah, but what happens if we get a 1-star? Well, you call them. You say, hey, I see we got a 1-star, and you go through this same process, and they might say, hey, I want a new set of tires. All right. So, Danny, let's pretend I give you the new set of tires. Let's pretend I rotate them, and I give you a $5 gift certificate to the Starbucks. Then what will happen? And you can role play any way you want. So you can either tell me good things are going to happen or not. So, Dan, if I do all that, then what will happen? Okay. And I'm letting most of you know about 80% of the time, I'd like to say 90, but I've had two that they said, I'm still mad at you. Then what we do is we talk to the owner of the company and we say, you need to write them a check that has a signature line that says you'll never mention our company again. In some cases, up to $10,000, $15,000, depending on the product, so that they go away. However, 9 times out of 10, they'll do what you just said, Danny. I'll take my review off. I'll come back and start working with you. Because it's not that I want to leave you. You know, Jim, do you want to leave Amazon? You don't want to leave Amazon. They kind of got you in a little bit of a conundrum, but you'll certainly say some mean things about it. If you can't do that, I'll quit saying mean things about you. So now here's what's imperative, the clear next step. So Jim, here's what I heard you say. Are we on the same page? Yes. Here's what you'd like to see happen next. Now remember, at no time am I going to tell Jim it's going to go away. What I'm going to say is, Jim, I'm going to have Travis call you within the next 3, depending on what the policy is, but typically it's 48 to 72 hours. Jim, I'm going to have Travis call you in the next 48 to 72 hours. He's going to come up with either he's going to walk you through it, either he's going to refund your money or he's going to tell you can't do anything. But that's what's going to happen. Jim, is that okay? All right. Now, Jim, if for some reason he doesn't call, you see my cell phone number, you call me back. Follow up, handwritten cards, whatever might go from there. The other thing I would encourage you is no mind reading. Make sure you don't have any mind reading. So this is a call from today. The storyline goes like this. We had a client that was, they had ordered, it was a desk, I believe. The client forgot to order the desk. I mean, it just happened. They forgot to order the desk, so they called about 4 weeks later and said, hey, where's my desk? And the AE looked up and said, So she went back and said, where's the desk? And they go, oh, I forgot to order it. So they order it, and they're okay, everything's good. They deliver the desk, and the desk only has one leg. You know, I hate to say I just got one leg to stand on, but that's all they had. Okay? So that being said, we go to our next part is, how do we deal with this? Well, the email said, I'm very disappointed. Now, you all may deal with things differently, but Jim, how do you think the rep dealt with, I'm very disappointed? Remember, and they didn't respond, they didn't do anything. They came to me and told me what? What do you think they said? So the email was, I'm very disappointed, knowing that it took 4 weeks to get it, another 3 weeks after that, and then when it showed up, and it was clear in, I think it was like Baker City, something like that. When it showed up, it only had one leg, so they couldn't even set it up. And then they get an email that says, I'm very disappointed. How do you think the client dealt with that? Not the client, the AE, the salesperson. And yeah, okay, well, she's dominant, so she didn't say sorry, but Jim's pretty close. They hate me. Okay? They hate me. So we're going to go ahead and call this lady. And remember, when I call, now I always have the advantage, Dan, when I call, because I don't have any head trash. Now, when I call my own customers, I have head trash. But in this case, I don't know the client. I know my only mission is what? Let them vent. That's not like us. Tell me more, what's going on, and go from here. So we'll call this one a mini volcano, but I wrote upset in Baker City. So let's take a listen. Oh, I'm sorry. Dave, I'm the director of purchasing. I'm just calling to follow up on that debt. It looks like we screwed up really bad. Calling to tell you that's not like us. Full responsibility.
Well, I did respond the same email. I'm talking. But I did say that you said that
Well, and again, like I said, there's no excuse for that. As director for operations, I take full responsibility to make sure you know that I can't do anything to fix it. It's important that I tell you that, number one, raise my hand and acknowledge you screwed up, but number two, say, gee, is there anything I can do for you?
no, not really.
Okay, we'll pause it right there. Jim, how did she in that part of the call? I'm 2 minutes in. What did she say? Now, remember, you're right on the money. She hates us. Play back what you heard her say. Just at the very end, right there when I stopped it. There you go. That's it. Hit it out of the park, Jim. We love our furniture. Wow. We love our furniture. And then what's important? What's the clear next step? What did she say? Make sure we do what? Remember what she said about when the desk comes out? Were you daydreaming? Did anybody hear when the desk comes out again, what do we need to make sure? Make sure it's got the 3 legs that go to it. Yes. But there was no version. But remember, email can play tricks on us because there's no tone and tempo in email. And unfortunately, we communicate so much by email. And I will tell you, I've had a lot of fights with people, and I've never even talked to them just by reading their email. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know why they're thinking that, but I'm blessed because I have a great filter in my family. It's my wife. She reads the email and goes, "What's wrong with you? What do you mean? They said they're mad." No, they said that they were going to send you another email of this, this, and this. How dare they do that? What's wrong with you? So have a trusted advisor or somebody that can, because naturally we go to where we would go. In this case, this particular rep was, I go, "I think you're hearing your mom and dad." Because somebody else wrote, "I'm disappointed." She goes, "How'd you know?" Because we hear our mom and dad when our mom and dad are mad at us. And it's different for all of us. My dad would just, there was a whistle or he'd just say my first name. I'm like, I'm in trouble. So if somebody just says my first name, naturally, what am I, Dan? I'm in trouble. Dave, I'm in trouble. Hey, can you come over here? I was trying to get your attention. Well, what'd I do? What'd I do? Oh, nothing. We have an award for you. So make sure we don't read into that. Now, in this case, I asked the client, I said, "Are you a Starbucks or a Subway fan?" "Oh, I like Starbucks." And then I asked about a restaurant there. I think it was the Geyser Grand. Maybe you've been to Bay. I go, "Hey, oh, that's my favorite place to eat." So we're going to provide her with a gift certificate. Remember, we don't have to. And I made sure to tell her, this isn't to make everything go away. This is to tell you, because remember, what's her personality, Jim? But she also, what'd she say about her furniture? Love it, so a little bit of an influencer. So we have to make sure we let her know that we love her. All right, here's another one. This is going to be a copy machine. This one was yesterday. So I'm letting you guys know these happen on a regular basis. It's just, and part of it is we have them tucked away. Okay, so this is somebody that's upset. And I was told they were upset. Their copy machine doesn't.
Well, I was on the other line, but I'm not. No, it's fine. I'm sorry. Which state is this? Oh, I'm sorry. I work at Allied Education. I'm director of Allied. Oh, okay. Yeah, Allied. Your copy of the code. Yeah. I get twofold. One, I just call and send you thank you for your business. Let you know we appreciate you. And then the other is just check in and see how we're doing. Good. I mean, we don't like the copier, but we're working, on that.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there. What'd you hear right away, Danny? Good, but remember whenever you hear something but, that means everything I said back here is not true. Good, but what'd you hear? And what don't they like? Yeah, and that's a problem when you sell copiers. You know, if you sell coffee, hey, I love everything about you, but your coffee sucks. Uh-oh. Okay, so now we know we're going to go into some version of the volcano. Now remember, Travis, when I went into this call, I knew this ahead of time. But I'm calling first to just let you know, well, why are you calling? Just tell you thank you. Now the other one, it was obvious. Hey, sounds like we didn't do a very good job, but you can approach it any way you want.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make either copy or post it. Yeah, I have. I guess twofold. One, I'm just calling to tell you thank you for business. Let you know we appreciate it. And then the other is just to check in and see how we're doing.
Good. I mean, we don't like the copier, but we're working with, on that. We think it should be very high on it. The last time I had a meeting set up, I was out of the office effectively, but we've been working with her on that. I mean, the response from you guys is great. We're just not how you get the machine.
Well,
Second time.
I feel it's better that it feels that it's one of our best, so we definitely. When you say good on the machine, tell me more, what's going on?
Okay, why am I telling her, Travis? So here we're down to, tell me more. Why did I say tell me more? Isn't that enough? I hate the machine. What don't you hate it? Because I might be able to fix the machine. I might be able to, but I mean, some people just, I hate it. How come? It's not the same as my old one. Have you had any training? Do I need training? Typically when I get a new cell phone, I hate my new cell phone. And the number one reason is nobody trained me. Well, I'm a D. I'll figure it out on my own. And then I come around these guys and they're like, did you know your phone will do this? Did you know your... No, I hate this phone. So let's take it from there. Tell me more.
What's going on?
So it's slow. We had a rebuild before.
So we're taking notes. It's slow.
Numbers for this one said that it was supposed to be faster. It did not. And we had a terrible time getting it set up. We don't use a network office. The Dropbox didn't need a network. And of course, we got building wide internet, so we're able to change some here. But it makes it more difficult for everybody to access the scan. It wasn't that hard to set it up with Rico. Chico was terrible to set up. But it was low as well, and well, I didn't know we saw it.
Taking notes, and I know Camille's probably on top of it, but I'm calling right now. When you say slow, first thing comes to my mind is my football coach. He always told me I was slow. Tell me more. What would you like to see that?
So,
And why did I dig into slow a little more, Daddy? Why would I dig in? So it's slow and it's a copy machine. Now I don't know. I mean, really, I don't know what that means. Why am I digging in a little? And this works good in your line of work too. Hey, you guys, you responded slow. Okay. All right. So if you guys couldn't hear Danny, he said she brought up slow 4 or 5 times. And then, well, what would be fast? So clarify. So you're absolutely right. So if you're hearing things slow, now here's the other thing I want you to add to this. Don't try to fix it while you're on the phone. Listen, because your real mission here is to listen to the customer. A lot of times I'll do these and I'm working with accounting people and they're like, oh, she did this, that. No, listen. Because remember, we don't fix machines, we fix people.
when you send a document to print, if it's one page, it's good, because it's just gonna print that one page and it's pretty quick. If it's multiple pages, it sort of has a delay in the sending, as opposed to a single page document. It's a negligible delay, but it's there, and it is add up. But then it'll spit out the first couple of pages, and just for no reason whatsoever, it'll just take a coffee break, and then spit out the rest of your document.
So, real quick, again, I know Camille's working on, what would you like to see happen? I know what should happen. What would you like to see happen instead what would you like to see happen?
Yeah, we're just gonna be dealing with this machine, so we'd like a bit.
Now, again, I don't know if I can get them a different machine, but it's important that she's able to tell us, because really, did the machine sound that slow to you when she described it? It didn't sound that slow. She goes, well, it adds up, a delay, but what it really sounds like, you remember when she said, it just takes a coffee break out of the blue. Now, again, I would say coffee break, but in the interest of the training, we're going to speed this up a little. But there may be more as long as we're listening to it. But at the end of the day, I just want a new machine.
Camille has worked really hard to try and get tech to come in and check it out, investigate all the possibilities. Like I said, on paper, this machine was supposed to be faster and better than the Hoopla that we had. But in reality, it's not working out that way. So the meeting that I mentioned that our office with the owner was, I think we were supposed to be talking about these kind of options. What do you think? It's great about getting people out here and try to find.
Now, again, what's the customer now trying to convince me? How great we are. I mean, just like the other lady, I love my furniture, and the gal that had me call, high C. I don't mean like the punch. I mean high C. They're mad, they're this, that, and the other. She made it clear. You guys are doing a great job.
It's not. I don't think it's a solution-based problem, other than the solution is get that one out of here and get it.
All right, and I'm, again, taking notes on what you're aware of this. You already have an appointment with her lined up.
I don't think we rescheduled.
Reschedule while you're on the phone.
No, just
What would work best for you?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause that. So if we look at it, now this is a little different script. What I mean by is when I call somebody, typically if they call in and say, your IT guy didn't show up and we were down all weekend. I don't know how you feel, but I'm understanding. Tell me more. Let them explode. Don't, whoa, wait, don't you attack me. Now, Jim, if they get too hot, we say things like, you're not mad at me, are you? So if they get too hot, we say, you're not mad at me, because, again, if they're mad at you, then that's where you ask your owner to help you out. Owner, I need you to call Timmy, because nobody in this case, this isn't training that says, get ready to get beat up. That's not what the training is. The training is to find out where the peace table is, because we've already discovered everybody makes mistakes. We make mistakes, as long as we're not making them over and over. But remember the first audio I played for you, we shipped a desk and it only had one leg, and it was 6 weeks late. The lady said, I love our furniture. All right, that's important. So tell me more. She did. That's not like us. I trained the team. What should have happened? What should have happened? She told me, what would you like to see happen now? Now, her solution was a new machine. At no time, Travis, did you hear me say, we're going to get you a new machine? The most important thing is she knows I heard her, and I played back what she said, and the clear next step is you're going to meet with our team. That's the clear next step. It's going to be on Thursday. Now, here's the tricky part on the bottom line here. Follow up, because this can be a raving fan, a customer for life. It'll be a customer for life if we follow up with this customer. But that's going to be the tricky part is, A, if we can't fix it, we're going to be afraid to follow up. A plus, if we do fix it, we'll forget about them. So we've got to follow up, because, Danny, what we really want to do is if we fix this, now we can ask them to do more. We can ask them to do more work. And we can ask them for referrals and recommendations. Because here's how that referral and recommendation sounds. Hey, you looking for somebody to do a copy machine? Hey, I'll tell you who we have is Allied. They screwed up. See that copy machine? But they stuck with it till they fixed the dang thing. I'll tell you what, I've never worked with anybody like that. Our rep was here all the time. They had a director of first impressions. I mean, we had some trouble with that, but they got the thing fixed. They're awesome. Because most times it's like the stories we told in here. And if we dig really deep, we can find some really bad customer service. We really dig deep. So that's what's important. Let them explode. I don't know how you feel, but I understand. I'm taking notes. Do not fix the problem on the phone. Your job is not to fix the problem. It's to listen to the person. Now, don't confuse with what I'm saying is it's about the problem, not the person. I'm trying to get the customer to focus on the problem, not on me. Because a lot of times, somebody answered, so I'm going to give them a piece of your mind. Well, remember what the art of war says. I stole your coffee pot. I'm going to give it back. You better give, oh, wait a minute. Okay, now we can get to, hey, you broke my trust. Hey, I felt like it was safe. But now we can focus on what you're really mad about. Hey, if you just want a damn coffee pot, tell me. I don't know why I picked a coffee pot, by the way, because I don't think they make them anymore. I stole your Keurig. No, I'm just kidding. So that's what we've got to go through with that. So I would have this handy on a tab just in case you're like, uh-oh, angry on line 3. What do? I go to the volcano. I let them vent. And after I let them vent, I ask them to tell me more because I really want to get in the details. Because, Scott Galloway, will you read this line? Okay. The longer you wait to call the customer, it's not going to get better. The faster you are to response, you're going to be better off because you still have an opportunity not only to save the deal, but more importantly is they're going to respond to you in such a way that they'll go, he screwed up, but he made it right. And Travis, the biggest thing is you talked about, you just didn't get a phone call. Being listened to and being loved are so close together, most people can't tell the difference. You get me, you hear me, you listen to me, and that's real important. All right? And just like that, we're buttoned up. So that's our volcano theory. Hopefully we don't have a lot of upset customers, but sometimes that's just the nature of the beast. You guys can't control your technicians. You can't control blue screens. You guys can't control your instructors. You can't control certain deals. And sometimes, look, we screwed up. We screwed up. My bad. Now, we don't do this. We follow a system. We're at the peace table. Now what happens? Mm-hmm. Okay, great question. Okay, so let's you and I role play and it can be $1 billion. So Scott, what would you like to see happen next? All right, maybe a better question would be, what's fair? Scott, is that fair? Okay, so do you see where I say what's fair? So you can use that in there. I used to have that in my script. I used to start it out with the explode, don't know how you feel. And then I said, what's fair? But I've discovered that most people, first of all, just want to get it off their chest. First of all, they just want to get it off their chest. So I allow them to get it off their chest. What should have happened? Well, I don't usually have to ask that, but I use that for coaching. This should have happened. Well, what would you like to see happen next? Because, Scott, my analogy is when Carl's Jr. asked me to come in and help them with some of their restaurants, and they gave me these stacks of people, and I shouldn't say stacks, but there was a handful this big of people that had bad experiences, and they filled out their paperwork, and they turned it in, and I called those customers. Now, first of all, think about it. If you went, now I know you wouldn't eat at a Carl's Jr., but let's pretend you ate at a Carl's Jr., and you had a bad experience, you filled out a piece of paper and put it in a box, do you think anybody would ever call you back? No. So first of all, these people are dumbfounded that the representative of Carl's Jr. is calling them back to say, hey, I don't know how you feel, but I understand. And Scott, 9 times out of 10, guess what they wanted? Will you just tell the person, and next time it happens, I just want hot chicken. That's all they wanted. because what we had found is that the managers were giving them gift cards, and they kept giving them gift cards, and they were still mad because they didn't say, what would you like to see happen? Just make me some damn hot chicken. Oh, okay. So that's where that what's fair comes into play. So the flip side is, I'd like to retake the class. Okay. How about if I throw in a credit, you retake the class, I'll give you 2 credits. That way, when you take another class, it's buy one, get one free. Okay, fair enough. I would like you to give me all the computer screens. Sir, what's fair? And that may not be fair. I don't know, but that's what you have to determine because it's unique in this classroom. We do have an owner. We do have an owner in this classroom that has to be able to, and remember, your heart is of a servant and you want to please people. So you may sometimes offer to discount when you don't have to. So don't immediately say, I'm going to give you your money back. That sounds like something Amazon does. But here's the challenge with Amazon. You can't call them on the phone. And how was your customer experience with them? Sucked. Okay? The flip side is, Scott, I'm able to talk to you. And I think I would try to schedule an appointment face-to-face. Because sometimes I'll ask the people, is it a pound of flesh that you want? Is that what you're after? Yeah, I need to chew somebody's butt. Okay, how about I relay the message for you? So whose butt would you like me to choose? Taking notes, go ahead and tell them this, that, and the other. Okay, after I chew their butt, then what will happen? Then I'll be happy. Okay. But so many times we always think, well, if that were me, let's use your analogy of and we actually did this in real life, Dick's Sporting Goods. So Scott received some kind of a coupon in the mail. They went to Dick's Sporting Goods to buy, I can't remember if it was a baseball or a bat or whatever it was, and they didn't redeem it, or what happened with it? Because it was, what you bought was $20 and the card was $15. And remind me what the scenario was there. You remember? I mean, is this ringing a bell? Okay. And you had a coupon or a card. Right. Right. Yeah. Took the money off. Right. Right. Okay. So what happened in this scenario, so you guys know, Scott, so I said, let's call Richard. So we called Richard. He goes by Dick at the sporting goods place, but we called up Richard. And it was interesting that they had no system to deal with that. However, he did eventually acquiesce, because really I asked Scott, what do you want to see happen? I just want the guy to say, my bad. That's all he wanted the guy to do. Remember, you said, look, I got the gift card. It's not the end of the world. I just want him to say, I'm going to train up my people. But he wouldn't do that. What he said was, tell him to come down and I'll give him the merchandise. Whatever it was. And I think you did go down, didn't you, eventually? Or okay. But still, the experience was not that good. And guess what the manager thinks, Danny? Guess what he thinks? Did he take care of it? It's all good. I gave the son of a gun his money back. So be careful, pardon me, be careful when you're offering refunds and giving people money back. Because remember, at the end of the day, they want a product. They know they have to pay for it, just like the table. So we'll end where we started, just like the table. What do you want to have happen? I'll tell you what, I'll give you a free table. No, I just want the 3 legs and set up my damn table. Okay, and do me another favor. It doesn't have to happen again. Now, we're going to provide this lady with a gift certificate to the Starbucks, a gift certificate to her favorite restaurant. We don't have to do that, but remember, we want a referral and recommendation, and this is the follow-up. So a couple months from now, hey, how do you love your desk? Because remember, what did she say about her furniture? She loves it. Do you love that desk? And we tend to forget about that versus Dick's Sporting Goods that didn't handle it the right way. And remember, they discounted. They said, you come in and I'll give it to you. Okay, went in, gave it to me, and beat it. Don't ever come back here again. We're not going to sell guns anymore. Okay, and that's kind of how that plays out. So just remember those things. So let's kind of cube this up here, my final 60 seconds. Our mission number one is not to mind read. So we don't want to mind read. The most important thing that we can take away from this is tell me more. And remember what I told you, I'm taking notes. And remind me, Danny, why I said that's your most important takeaway. I'm taking notes. Is that okay? Why was that so important? Okay, not understand that you're listening. Because remember, you don't have to understand. You're listening. Now, we did tell them we understand, but we're re-emphasizing that by saying, I'm listening. Is that okay? Go through the system. Remember, we don't say, I'm sorry. That's not like us. What should have happened? What would you like to see happen? Now, if I do all this stuff, let's use Dick's Sporting Goods. If I have you come in, then what will happen? Oh, I'll still mean mouth you. Okay. Tell you what, I'll just refund your card and I'll give you the shoe carnival next door. I'll give you a card from them and never ever come here again. Okay. Or in this case, no, I'll give you a 5-star. Clear next step, follow up. All right. And does Scott typically, do you email them the slides or you just keep them or did you guys take notes? Okay. Okay. Outstanding. And those of you on the website, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate that. What do I hit? Stop video?